Jet Riker checked over the pre-flight diagnostics on his heavy fighter bomber one last time, running a practiced eye across the readouts. The human-made craft was as ready as it would ever be for the nightmarish gauntlet he was about to fly through. "You sure you want to go through with this?" Jet, his co-pilot AI, queried. "I'm registering a 97.8% probability of failure on this run." Jet smirked as he went through the launch sequence. "Which means you're giving me a 2.2% chance of success. I'll take those odds." The towering alien figures of the Griffins watched apprehensively through the hangar's viewing portal as the human craft lifted from the deck. They had sought out and hired Jet, one of the most famous mercenary pilots in the galaxy, for what everyone agreed was a suicide run. For decades, the Griffins had tried to penetrate and colonize the resource-rich system codenamed Hellgate. But the entire region was laden with impenetrable robotic defenses, a vast network of auto-turrets, hostile drone patrols, and unmanned warships still following the ancient automated routines of whoever had constructed them. Ship after ship the Griffins threw at the Hellgate defenses was blown out of the stars, until finally they decided to seek out the near-mythical skills of a human pilot who might have a better chance. Jet's fighter thundered out from the hangar's launch doors into the inky void. Sensors immediately registered hundreds of hostile targets in the distance, the massed might of the Hellgate defenses lying in wait. "Looks like one hell of a party," Jet murmured as he began inputting the attack vector coordinates. "Too bad they won't be enjoying my company for very long." With a flash of his engines, Jet rocketed towards the deadly robotic gauntlet head-on. This was what he lived for: immensely skilled human reflexes and an AI-tailored fighter pitted against overwhelming odds. The first salvo of turret fire lanced across his bow, percussive shudders rattling the fighter's hull. This was just the beginning of what would be a harrowing adrenaline-fueled thrill ride. The Griffins could only watch and wait to see if their astronomically expensive gamble would pay off. If Jet succeeded where they had failed for generations, it could open up the entire region for their species to thrive. But if this human maverick failed like all the others, then their hopes of colonizing that sector would remain forever out of reach. One thing was certain: if Jet did manage to pull off this so-called impossible mission, their perspective on just how powerful and resourceful humans could be would be dramatically reshaped. Jet's fighter banked hard as he shot between the openings of a massive turret array. The quad-linked cannons swiveled relentlessly to track him, pumping out withering streams of high-explosive rounds. "Hang on, we're going for a ride," he called out as he kicked in the advanced thruster vectors. The ship went into a violent corkscrew spiral that allowed it to seamlessly thread through the hail of enemy fire. Jet's hands danced across the controls, his cybernetically enhanced reflexes keeping them just a hair ahead of the barrage. All around him, the blackness of space was alive with chaff, ordnance, and energy blasts. Swarms of hunter-killer drones moved to intercept, filling his scope with new waves of targeting locks. "Let's see what these little bastards can do." Jet hit his forward batteries, blasting apart the first cluster of drones with surgically precise shooting. He peeled off in a blistering aileron roll as more of the unmanned attacker craft swarmed in from all vectors. Their aim was skillfully programmed, their teamwork flawlessly coordinated by the central AI nexus at the heart of the Hellgate defenses. But they had never gone active against a human pilot before, especially not one of Jet's caliber. With a feral grin, he wove his fighter through oncoming ordnance, all while using his point defenses to rapidly pick off drones one by one. To his synthetic enemies, his evasive skills must have seemed almost precognitive as he anticipated and juked away from their attacks. Visual on the main target, marking it now, his AI co-pilot announced, highlighting an immense alien structure floating against the distant clouds of debris. That was at the central control nexus that directed and coordinated every aspect of the Hellgate robotic defense network. Destroy that, and the whole system would collapse into useless scrap. "Lock on all forward ordnance," Jet commanded. "Let's send these machines back to the scrap heap." As he closed on the nexus, blasting apart the last drones in his path, Jet began feeling the impacts against his fighter's hull, warning lights flashing across his boards as systems were chewed away by turret fire. But he was almost in. Almost. Jet's fighter shuddered violently as the Nexus Point defense turrets hammered it relentlessly. Warnings blared from his damaged control panel's hull breaches, fires in his stern compartments. But none of that mattered now. He was right on top of the main target. "This is what you males were made for," he roared, smashing the payload release with the heel of his hand. Two twin streaks of light speared forth as the fighter's forward torpedo bays emptied their payloads. The massive warheads lanced across the void, their gravitic veins guiding them inexorably toward the heart of the alien nexus. There was a fractional pause as the torpedoes struck home, blasting away layer after layer of armored shielding. Then the containment fields collapsed, and their antimatter fuel payloads detonated in twin stellar fury blasts of pure destructive force. The Nexus structure shrieked and twisted inward, blown apart from the inside in a cataclysmic series of explosions. Within moments, the entire multi-mile-wide station was consumed in a rapidly expanding sphere of incandescent energy. On the edge of the fireball, Jet's fighter seemed like a mere insect in comparison. But it was far enough away to merely be buffeted by the leading shockwave rather than consumed. "We're clear," his AI co-pilot exulted. Already the vessel's sensors were showing the entire network grid across the system destabilizing and winking out. With the central nexus obliterated, the rest of the Hellgate robotic defenses were essentially headless, left drifting without any coordination or commands. One by one, the scattered drone squadrons, unmanned ships, and automated weapons platforms simply powered down into lifeless hulks. A wide grin creased Jet's face as he gunned the engines, pulling them around in a tight arc. He activated comms, opening a channel to the waiting Griffin strike force. "Hellgate has been neutralized. The area is yours to colonize. I'll transmit the nav coordinates for my retrieval and payment." There was a moment of stunned silence over the secure channel. The Griffins had lived in fear of the Hellgate defenses their entire existence, having launched countless efforts to breach the system over generations, only to have it solved in one fell swoop by a single human mercenary pilot. As Jet's crippled fighter began limping back through the now dormant fields of robotic scrap and debris, the transmissions from the Griffins slowly resumed. "You have no idea what you've done for our species," Human, the awestruck captain, said reverentially. "We will pay your fee gladly, but we can offer you even greater riches in return for." "Easy there," Jet cut him off with a chuckle. "One crisis at a time, my friend. Let's just concentrate on getting me out of this hellish junk pile first, before we start talking about my next contract." Still, he knew the seed was planted. News of his accomplishments here would spread across the galaxy. There would be fresh legends spun about what an elite human pilot could achieve single-handedly against impossible odds. And undoubtedly, there would also be whispers of awe and fear about just how utterly unstoppable a full human strike force would be. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please be sure to leave it a like and subscribe too, if you don't want to miss our next one. Feel free to check out any of our other videos too.